Pharaoh Akhenaten, originally named Amenhotep IV, was a ruler of Egypt's 18th dynasty with strong religious ideals. During his reign, approximately 1353 BCE to 1336 BCE, about 3,370 years ago, he implemented an unprecedented religious reform. The core of this reform was the transformation of the traditional polytheistic system into the worship of the sole deity Aten. Akhenaten proclaimed himself as the earthly representative of Aten, abolished the worship of Amun and other deities, and weakened the power of the traditional priesthood. He even moved the capital to a newly built city, Amarna, in order to escape the influence of the old temple powers. This transformation also triggered significant changes in art and culture. Egyptian art adopted an unprecedented realistic style, emphasizing intimate scenes of the royal family. However, this reform was quickly overturned after his death. His successors restored polytheism, and Akhenaten was considered a heretic. His name and image were erased from official history. Despite its brevity, this profound reform is still regarded by scholars as one of the earliest attempts at monotheism in the world. But in fact, this was not the first appearance of monotheism in Egyptian history. In reality, Egyptian religion was monotheistic from the beginning. So why did it later turn into polytheism? After Mena became the first pharaoh to unify Egypt, the power of the Egyptian clergy steadily expanded. To better control the people, they created various non-existent entities, many of which were terrifying. For example, Ammit, a creature with the head of a crocodile, the front part of a lion, and the hindquarters of a hippopotamus. Priests claimed that her role was as the devourer of souls. After death, if a person's heart was judged impure against the feather of truth, Ammit would devour it, condemning the soul to eternal oblivion. There was also Apep, depicted as a giant snake or dragon, representing chaos and darkness. His role was to attempt every night to prevent the sun god Ra's solar boat from passing through the underworld, thus plunging the world into darkness. Of course, all these non-existent things were invented by the priests. After all, fear is an excellent tool for controlling people. By using these fabricated entities, they controlled the masses and continuously expanded their power. Eventually, they put Pharaoh under their thumb. This situation persisted for many years. Many pharaohs yielded to the priests, but there were some who resisted. Akhenaten was one of them. Now that we've introduced the background of Akhenaten's religious reform, let's talk about what he did. He elevated the Egyptian god Aten to the supreme and sole deity, thereby attacking the worship of Amun. He waged a relentless struggle with the priests of Amun in Thebes, and to completely break free from their influence, he relocated the capital of the empire from Thebes to a newly built city. Akhenaten began construction of this new capital in the 5th year of his reign, naming it Akhenaten, meaning Horizon of Aten, also known as Amarna. To diminish the power of the traditional clergy, he founded Atenism, the monotheistic religion of ancient Egypt, and banned or weakened the traditional polytheistic beliefs. This greatly reduced the influence of the traditional priests. In year 5 of his reign, Akhenaten took decisive steps to establish the Aten as the sole god of Egypt. The pharaoh disbanded the priesthoods of all the other gods and diverted the income from these other cults to support the Aten. By year 9 of his reign, Akhenaten declared that Aten was not merely the supreme god, but the only worship-able god. He ordered the defacing of Amun's temples throughout Egypt, and, in a number of instances, inscriptions of the plural gods were also removed. During his reign, monotheism flourished in ancient Egypt, while polytheistic worship was gradually weakened. Power in Egypt also gradually returned to the hands of the pharaoh. Unsurprisingly, the Egyptian priests loathed this situation. So, they decided to poison Akhenaten. In the last years of his reign, several members of his royal family died, including some of his daughters. Finally, he himself was poisoned by the priests. Before dying, he made the following statement: "The time that I have spent on this earth was an era in which the simplicity of truth was not understood and was rejected by many." As often happens in religious sects, the Egyptian priests distorted the truth, simple though it was, in order to have a better hold over the people. They had them believing in the devil and in various divine beings as well as other such nonsense. The monotheism he advocated was resisted and abandoned after his death. His tomb and body were desecrated and humiliated, including his royal sarcophagus being damaged. His name was erased from official history, and the temples he built were destroyed. Even the name of his successor, Tutankhamun, was removed from the official list of pharaohs. It was not until the late 19th century that archaeologists discovered the ruins of the city of Amarna, and only then did people rediscover this pharaoh. This shows how deeply the priests hated him. After his death, the priests regained control, overturned the monotheism he had established, and returned ancient Egypt to its former polytheistic beliefs. In a country like ancient Egypt, once prosperous and powerful, the priests, driven by their own interests and lust for power, constantly brainwashed the people, ultimately leading the entire Egyptian civilization toward decline and destruction. Pharaoh Akhenaten was a man worthy of respect. He courageously fought against the priests until he was poisoned. For the better development of his society, he made efforts that ordinary people could hardly imagine, even while facing great danger. From this, we can also learn that religion must never be separated from the control of the government. Once it is, over time, the priests will become the true rulers of a nation. And priests, by nature, are people scheming to control the population. When such people govern a country, its decline becomes inevitable.